Hello guys, welcome to the official Cast-4-life YouTube channel. This is our first ever video as we are trying to broaden our advertisement and promotion for this great cause that we do. I'll just quickly run you guys through what Cast-4-life is, and then I'll get on to the main people who basically run this whole thing in their spare time whilst both working full-time jobs. They do an incredible job at this. So basically Cast-4-life is a charity fishing match that we run. All proceeds go to Cancer Research UK to help with their research in finding a cure for cancer, because as we all know, cancer is a very, very horrible thing, and it unfortunately does not just affect the person with cancer, it affects the family around them and their friends as well. So basically right now we are currently at the venue where we have had our past two Cast-4-life matches, and continue to have them for the foreseeable future, and that venue is Willow Park Fishery in Aldershot. If you guys have been there, I'm sure you'll all appreciate how great of a venue it is. And if you haven't been there, I seriously suggest you guys get here. It's now over to the important bit of the people who actually run Cast-4-life. So here we are, guys. These are the two people who run Cast-4-life. This is on the right, Ian Palmer, my dad, and on the left, Vicky Palmer, my mum. They both do an incredible job, and we're just going to go through some questions so you guys get full understanding of what we do and why it is so important.
Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Vicky. And together we created and run Cast-4-life.
So, why did you start Cast-4-life?
You can answer that.
Back in January 2012, I was fishing with two friends at a lake that was local to us at the time called FLE Angling. And I took a phone call from my sister. She called me to let me know that the breast cancer that she had previously beaten had come back, and this time it was terminal. There was nothing they could do for her anymore. That was it that day. I didn't know what to do. I carried on fishing with my friends. Went home, obviously spoke to Vicky and Nathan and Callum, and that was it. We made arrangements to go and see Debbie, which we did various times up later on that year. And I just came up with the idea of doing a sponsored fishathon. Spoke to Graham, who owned FLE at the time, and he was more than happy for us to use the lake, the top lake, for 36 hours. It was the planned fishing. And it was myself, my brothers Tony and Steve, and three friends, Albert McLaren, Simon Bryant and Craig Mears. Simon's sadly no longer with us, but I'll tell more about him a bit later on. So that was pretty much it.
How it started.
We got to speak to Debbie a few months before the first Cast-4-life.
At the time, the only planned.
It was the only planned one as well. Yeah, it was just going to be a one-off event. Debbie knew what we were doing. Unfortunately, she didn't stay with us long enough to get to see it, but I'm sure she was there in spirit. Simon was very helpful in sorting out things to do with Cast-4-life, like the logo that we have. He helped me choose that. We spent hours one night on a computer going through images while drinking and having a laugh about it as best we could. And we ended up coming up with the logo. We purchased the copyright for it. It was only a few quid. It was a black and white image, and we added our own bits to it. And Simon chose the colour.
That is the logo of fish. However, it does now have a banner underneath that actually says Cast-4-life. But if you see that fish, that is ours. That is Cast-4-life's official logo.
So getting back to the what was the planned one match or fish? It wasn't a match. There wasn't really a winner. There was no prizes for winning and that. It was in the July of 2012. If I remember rightly, between the six of us, we had over £600 worth, or £600 in weight of fish out. With Tony catching the most. I think it was over £200. I think that Tony had. But as I said, it wasn't a competition then. It was all more about raising the money. We had friends over on one of the days for barbecue. Friends and family come down. We had such a laugh, including Stephen running around the lake in a mankini.
That image.
That's an image you won't forget. Fair play on him though. He said he'd do it if somebody pledged 50 quid, and they did, and he done it. So fair play on him. And that was it. That was
how it started.
The first one, and what was meant to be the only one.
So, how long has Cast-4-life been running?
Well, the first one was 2012. We've been going ever since, so the next one next year will make it 14 years.
And how many matches have there been?
12, 13, 15, 16, 18, 21, 22, 20. That's 8 matches. So next year will be our ninth match.
How long have both of you been fishing?
Well, I originally started fishing when I was about 11, 12 years old. Then stopped. I started college, started working. I then started back again in 2011.
Don't really know, because
it was probably around about 2015, 2016. No, might be less. It'd be earlier than that. 2013.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah, you'd come at day sessions at 3.
I used to come out and sort of just sit there and not fish. But started sort of getting interested in actually fishing probably around then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And why did you choose Cancer Research as a charity when there are multiple other cancer charities out there?
That's a good question.
Yeah, Cancer Research basically covers everything. Covers every type of cancer. It doesn't just, like, you've got breast cancer awareness and Macmillan Mercer's prostate. They cover everything. So it covers every base, basically. The money goes to everything. And the research into what they do.
And does all of the money that's raised at the match go to the charity?
It did to start with.
And then some of the regular anglers found out that we weren't taking back our personal expenses that we were using to pay for things. Yeah, so now it's 100% of the profits. So we don't take back all our expenses, but we do take back some.
This is a bit of a tough question. Have you had cancer yourself?
Yes. I've had Hodgkin's lymphoma twice. I'm not the only person in the family that's had cancer that's been lucky enough to survive it. Mum has gone through it twice herself with a type of lymphoma. And Tony, older brother, is recently recovering from bowel cancer. But we've also lost other members of the family as well. Auntie Sylvia.
Obviously Debbie.
Yeah.
My side, I mean, I've lost an uncle and a granddad and a nan, all to cancer. One of my uncles is in recovery from Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
I had precancerous cells a couple of years after having Nathan, which thankfully got caught well in time. And it's not just that. I mean, we've lost friends. Sometimes it feels like our family's got a big target on its back.
Yeah.
Because of how many people have had it and how many people we've lost. But it's
not just our family, it's every family.
It's not just our family, it is every family. And like Nathan said, cancer is one of those diseases, it doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
You can be young, you can be old, everybody can get it. Everybody has a chance of fighting it, but not everybody can. And cancer research, they do their best to find better treatments and cures for every single type of cancer.
Yeah.
And this is why it's so important. Try and beat it.
Yeah.
So, what made the match go from yearly to biannual?
So, 2013 was the first year that we sort of decided to do it again.
Yeah.
After the initial one. And a few people that fish regularly at FLE wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
So we made it a singles match, and again Graham, he let us use the canals at FLE, and because there was going to be a few anglers taking part and it was going to be more of a match format, we decided we needed to have some like marshal stewards, and unfortunately they let us down. They never showed, and as a result we were having to fish. I wasn't fishing it, but it was a case of I was trying to do things in the background,
and Marshall,
and Ian was having to marshal and fish, and it just got to the point that Ian got so stressed with it all that come the end of the match we were seriously considering not doing it again because of how stressed it was. So we decided to take a year off, see how we felt, and it was in 2014 we decided, let's give this another go.
Yeah. So started organising it
for 2015 and made it a pairs match. After that match, we had even more people. Word of mouth was starting to go round. We were getting other people who wanted to come and take part, and FLE unfortunately wasn't going to be big enough anymore. So we decided, okay, we'll do it in 2016.
Yeah.
But we're going to need a bigger venue. So we found a bigger venue.
Yeah.
We done it in 2016. And then at the end of 2016, because we were both working full time and trying to organise the match in our spare time, it was just getting too much. And that's when we said, right, we can't do this every year. We need some time off in between each match. So we decided that it was going to go to biennial.
Yeah.
And the next one would take place in 2018, which it did.
Yeah. And we had to change venues again. We started at FLE, as you know. 2016 was held at Broadlands. Unfortunately, we had to move on from there to Lakeside. We had a great time. We actually had a banging time that weekend, didn't we?
Yeah, 2018 was amazing. It was our biggest one to date in terms of money raised. I think we had something like 28 anglers fishing.
Yeah. So we were going to go back in 2020, but obviously COVID put a stopper to that. We went back
in 2021.
And we literally had 4 months to organise that.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know whether we were going to be able to.
We still didn't know because of COVID and lockdowns and things.
But we managed it.
And even with COVID, we still managed to hit about $4,000 raised for that match, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then we had to move lakes again.
Yeah.
Primarily because more people wanted to take part. And East Lake just wasn't going to support more people. So we started looking for other venues. I contacted Mark and Amy at Willow Park. And we had our first match here in 2022, in the October.
Yeah.
And haven't looked back. Mark and Amy love having us. We love coming.
It's such a great venue for that sort of
It is a really good venue. The staff are fantastic. Yeah. Mark and Amy are fantastic.
As well as the bailiffs as well.
All the bailiffs are brilliant, going around making sure that all the rules are being followed. Fish safety is their priority. They've got some absolute banging fish in the lake. Not necessarily massive, but beautiful scaly mirrors. In fact, on this trip, Nathan actually had one last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, or should I say this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. Only £18, but an absolute beautiful fish.
There's a few 30s in here now.
Yeah, there's a few 30s in here. We're at the right time of the year, sort of getting into the mid 30s. And it is a lovely venue. So we're diverging, but that's why we decided to go from yearly to biannually. It was purely down to work commitments and things. It was just too much.
And had you guys previously fished Willow Park?
I had once before.
You had, I hadn't.
So you had a general idea of the venue.
I had a 148-hour trip. Which was in 2021 in the summer. I was lucky enough, due to the help from Steve, my brother, to bag a nice 30 pound or just under 31 pound common, known as Two Scar Common, as well as a couple of other smaller fish, but again scaly bangers.
I personally had never fished it. I mean, I've come with you to have a walk round it when we were looking for possible venues, but I'd never fished it.
How did you guys come up with the name Cast-4-life?
To be fair, I was looking at a cancer research donations page. And I saw one on there which actually was cast, the word for FOR, life, and I thought, oh, that's quite catchy. So that's when I came up with cast for the number 4, life, which we started to use as just for the cancer research money raising page, because that's all we had at the time. And then while that had started, I had contact from Cancer Research saying that somebody is already using that. We can still use it if we can make amendments to it, which is where we added in the hyphens. So it's now cast-4-life.co.uk if you want to go to the website.
I'll make sure the website is in the description of the video.
But
tag it in the video.
There is also a Facebook like page. And we do also have a group page which is private, so if you want to get on in the group, then you'll need to request to join, and we can sort of accept your invite, kind of thing.
And just quickly, guys, just going to plug the match in here really quick. Obviously, we'll be at Willow Park Fisheries venue again next year, April 2026. And like my parents have said, we do on Saturday. We tend to have social. We bring all the rods in. We have social. We have a raffle auction.
Cake sale, merchandise.
It's usually a bottle tombola as well.
Yeah.
If you want to have a crack at that. And it's just generally a really good time to just have a chat, have a laugh, and
And it's open to everybody.
So why did it go to a pairs match versus a singles?
I think purely because of the amount of people we
Yeah.
started having interest,
Yeah.
didn't we?
There's not many venues that, I mean, we had, when we went to a pairs match,
We were meant to have 15 pairs.
but only 10.
No, sorry, 10
10
pairs. But only had 6 turn up.
Yeah.
So if you imagine that as single, that would have been 20 single anglers, which we would have then had to find a lake that could hold 20 single anglers. So that's sort of when it was decided, no, we needed to go.
It makes it a bit more social as well, I think.
Yeah.
So everybody gets on with everyone, and that it's, you got somebody next to you that you like to fish with, and it just makes it social.
And approximately, how much have you raised since Cast-4-life started?
So since 2012, I think our total raise somewhere is in the region of between 25 and 30,000 to date.
Yeah.
Those of fishing and non-fishing related businesses generally are very good and donate to the raffle.
Yeah.
And this is what we mean when we say, obviously, on the social, it's not just for the people angling or just for the people fishing or who are interested in fishing, because we get donations from businesses which don't do anything to do with fishing. Do you or have you donated to other charities?
We have.
Yeah.
So when I think it was 2013 was when the raffle first made its very first appearance.
Yeah.
And at the time, the raffle was done by a gentleman called Gary Stevenson and his wife Anne, who fished the match and were also very good friends of Ian's sister Debbie.
Yeah.
And at the time, they wanted the proceeds of the raffle to go to Macmillan because they helped look after Debbie towards the end. So that year, the money from the sponsorship went to cancer research, and the money from the raffle went to Macmillan. We have also done one, I think it was at Chichester actually, where a portion, about 50% of the raffle money, actually went to Countess Mountbatten.
Yeah. That was in memory of
Andy Dunsire,
yeah,
who sadly passed away, who had fished the match. So that money went to Countess Mountbatten, again with the main part of it going over to cancer research.
How can people get involved?
So the best way to get involved is to follow us on Instagram, like the like page on Facebook, and join the Facebook group. That way you can keep up to date with dates for new matches, when they're coming out, when the tickets will be available. And what happens is I will put a post up announcing the dates for the next match once I have them confirmed with Amy and Mark, which is usually about 12 months before. The way to get involved is we always need marshals for the match. So if it's something you think you might like to come along, the marshal basically stays on the bank with the fishermen. We usually try to have 2 marshals per bank, so there's 3 banks, there's 6 marshals. The best thing is to follow us on the Facebook and just drop us a line.
Brilliant. When you two get too old and frail to continue with Cast-4-life, I'll continue its legacy for years to come. Right then, there we have it, guys. That is the first official Cast-4-life video complete. It was just a sort of an introduction to what we do, why we do it, where it's came from, how it's going, and you know, just trying to give you guys as much details as possible. You know, because we want to share this as far as possible. We want to get this as big as possible. You know, because at the end of the day, it all goes to cancer research. You know, it's such a big thing for everyone, for especially people that have been affected by it and their families. And we just want to grow this as much as possible. You know, because the more money that we can donate to cancer research, the better chance they've got at finding a cure for this horrible disease. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back with another video at some point, I'm sure. Obviously, this isn't sort of going to be a weekly upload, of course, because like my parents said, you know, the match is every 2 years, and you know, there's not a lot you can really record within those 2 years to keep it going. But it's mainly be for updates, and you know, for maybe if people who, you know, they want to see what Cast-4-life is like before coming down to experience it, you know, we'll make sure the videos have got that in there, because of course I'll be filming the match as much as I can, because obviously I'll be fishing it myself, so I'll do what I can whilst trying to fish, of course. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you know, like and subscribe, head over to the Facebook, like the Facebook page, like the Instagram page, share it about with your friends as much as possible. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Bit of footage here of the middle lake. This is one we don't use for the match, just to give you an idea of the size of the middle. So just walking down to the tackle shop. There's your net dip. It's a lower lake.